Hello guys, I'm Foxy, and this is A Township Tale. A Township Tale is simply the best VR, almost MMO, RPG. First, let's address the elephant in the room, even two elephants. First of all, I know that you are not subscribed, so you better deal with it. Oh, this is my character. Game supports mixed reality and I love it. Second, why almost MMO? MMO stands for Massive, Multiplayer, Online. And A Township Tale is online and is a multiplayer game, but not exactly massive. It has different servers with consistent, partially procedurally generated online worlds. As it seems, technically there is no player limit, but the game design and performance suggest 10 players on a server at a time to be somewhat optimal, although popular servers often have much more. But let's talk about everything in order. Character. In A Township Tale, you have a single character for every server. You can customize it in the main menu location, or visiting the customization house on any server during a play session. There are no attributes, talents, or skills to choose from. You are choosing only your appearance. Different faces, body types, hair, facial hair, clothes, and numerous accessories are all at your service. You can also change every color to your preference, whether it is a skin color or the color of your clothes. When in game, you can see a health bar, a hunger bar, and after you eat, a fullness bar on your left wrist. The movement has the standard options of locomotion or teleportation, smooth or snap turn. There are 4 spheres on your belt. 2 on the sides can hold medium-sized items, like tools or weapons. Middle ones can hold smaller items, like flints or arrows. On your back, there is a slot for a backpack, which acts as your inventory. Skills. There are no character levels in A Township Tale. To learn any skill, you need to use respective tools or weapons. So, for example, to get warrior skills, you need to fight enemies with melee weapons. And to get woodcuttery skills, you chop trees. Overall, you can access 5 skill trees: Archer, Miner, Warrior, Woodcutter, Blacksmith. After leveling up at something, you need to go to a respective shrine to take your hard-earned skill. But you can't have them all. You have only 8 skill slots, so choose wisely. We don't have the time for all the skills, but I really want to show some of them. Archery. Level 2 multi-shot. No comments needed. Woodcuttery. Shatter Wave. An AoE attack that turns branches into sticks, sticks into arrow shafts, and logs into wood. Mining. Echolocation. The skill is activated by raising a pickaxe above the player's head, waiting until the animation and audio occurs, then striking the ground. A ring of blue light will travel along the terrain, effectively showing how the terrain changes over a certain distance. One of the coolest skills I have ever seen in any game. Warrior. Wave Slash. Raising a piercing or slashing weapon above your head for a short period of time and slashing with it will shoot a blade of energy in the direction the player is looking upon activation. Getsugo Tensho! Blacksmith. Ember Composer. A swing-like action by the player will cause an unforged weapon to burst into flames, causing the weapon to heat up. This can extend the time between reheating and looks amazing. World. At the very beginning, it is worth mentioning that the Township Tale world is seamless, so you will not encounter any load screens during your travels. The world of A Township Tale is not huge, but it's big enough for you to get lost. It has day and night cycles, different biomes for you to step in, and a few enemies to fight. The heart of the world is a town. Here you have all your essential tools for production of different items, weapons, tools, etc. Around the town you have half a dozen smaller locations for the players to explore, like Dust Bowl, Quarry, or camps, and two large and very important places, the mines and the forest. Those two big locations are the reasons I've said partially procedurally generated online worlds earlier, because they are procedurally generated at the start of the server and hence unique for each realm. Mines consist of numerous layers, each going deeper and deeper down and are the main source of metal ore. The deeper you go, the stronger your enemies are and rarer metals you find. You can fast travel on each 10th level using the elevator, but prior to this, someone has to reach the respective level on foot and build the elevator station first. The depth of the mines is uncertain. You can fast travel down up to 100th level and go down on foot indefinitely. Fandom Wiki says that the game continues to generate floors past floor 100. I personally went as deep as level 138. The forest is not infinite, but you will be lost for sure. Don't forget your teleportation potion. In the forest you will find some animals to hunt, rare trees to chop, or you can be chopped by a rare tree. Overall, the exploration of the game world by itself will take dozens of hours. So far, I have spent around 500 hours in a Township Tale world. Crafting. Crafting is easily one of the coolest parts of a Township Tale. I can highlight three main crafting activities: blacksmithing, chiseling, and, well, crafting. For each of these activities, there is a dedicated building. Let's look closely at blacksmithing. Let's say you want to craft a rapier. You'll have to get some ore, smelt it into ingots, then take respective molds and smelt ingots enter guard, pommel, fancy guard, and a blade. Looks like an oversized ice cream. That's because every blade has to be forged. We take it into the forge, heat it up, and smack it hard with a hammer. Now, having a blade and a guard, you might as well make a handle to complete your repair. Now about chiseling. Chop some wood, go to the carpentry station and make a handle. It is quite simple, once you get a hang of it. Ta-da! And now what do we do? 1, 2, 3, 4. Done! Since the weapon crafting system in A Township Tale is modular, you can build really unique and unusual weapons.
Finally, we will take all size and attach them to the top. And there you have it. You now have your axe that also doubles as a decent weapon for damage.
Look at me! I am ready to go and stab some bad guy to death to take all of his loot. But what if there is a lot of loot? I guess I need a backpack. And this is where the crafting is coming into play. We gather some leather strips, smelt some metal buckles, and go to the crafting house. Oh ho ho! How many wonderful minutes you will spend here trying to do the proper nailing. Jokes aside, this is one of the most exciting crafting mechanics any VR game can offer. As you can see, A Township Tale offers a very thorough and interesting crafting mechanics. Okay, finally, adventure! Cooking. You gotta eat! In order your food to be efficient, you need to cook it, and there are two ways to do this. First, you can roast any food using various fire sources. Put the food close to the fire, wait a bit, it's done. And of course you can burn it. If you want to step even further, you can boil already roasted food to make various soups or potions, if you will. These potion soups now do not only satisfy hunger, but also grant buffs, increased health, strength, or, for example, glowing. Be sure to have food on you at all times. Being hungry makes you slow, weak, or even dead. Combat. A Township Tale is mainly a PvE game, with very few PvP-oriented servers, simply because the game design itself is not encouraging PvP. So, there are two main ways to defeat your enemies: melee combat and ranged combat in the form of archery. This is the theory behind the damage of the melee weapons. The game generates 2 points at the tip of a weapon. One is figuratively attached to the weapon and will move as fast and as far as the weapon when the player moves it around. Then, there is another invisible point that follows the weapon. It moves slower than the other point, but will eventually catch up to it if the player stops moving. The important point is that the slower point will always attempt to reach the point on the tip of the weapon, even as the player accelerates or changes the trajectory. Then, if a player hits a target, the game will calculate the distance between the point on the weapon and the slow point behind the weapon. It will use the distance along with the data of the material the weapon is made of, if it is one-handed or two-handed, and how you hold it, the vulnerabilities to calculate a number. This number is then subtracted from the target's health. With this system, game encourages you to make fast, quick blows and not spam low-quality attacks. Along with available skills and an option to use shields, it makes for interesting, engaging combat. Archery is a bit simpler. Draw the bowstring back as far as you can, and the farther you are from the target, the more damage your arrow deals upon impact. Combined with the available skills, it is fun, but not as exciting as melee combat. It is worth mentioning that at all times you have to be vigilant, because dying is very easy. Whether you lose your stuff upon dying or not, it is up to the server settings. Economics. In A Township Tale, you have means to make money, store money, and spend money.
Capitalism.
But there are fundamental flaws in this economic system, in my opinion. First of all, due to the small population on any server, it is quite hard to establish any consistent trading relationships. Second, game doesn't take away any amount of money supply, and since players can make as much money as they want, and it never goes away from the server, you'll end up with every player having tons of money, or, more often, players completely not caring about money. Because why? It has no value. Essentially, you have no reason to want money in the first place. Have you got the same experience? Please write in the comments. Voodoo. There is also magic in this world. Sorta. It is called Voodoo. Voodoo is a community-made magic mod for A Township Tale. To use it, you, as a player, need to install and run a Voodoo client, which is a species recognition application that lets you invoke magic spells with your voice on game servers that support Voodoo. First, to invoke a spell, you must be near a spellcrafting conduit, speak a series of incantations, and offer an array of different material components to be destroyed in the process. Depending on the type of the spell, a successful invocation may either cast that spell immediately or prepare it in your mind with a fast trigger for casting later. The incantation system is quite awesome. Each belt slot corresponds to the incantation glyphs. In the spellbook, you can find the incantations for discovered spells. The incantations are made of verbal and material components. Let's look at some of them. Frostbolt. We take green leatherroll, blue sprinkle feather, blue crystal gem, and dynamite. The incantation goes like this: Skin of worm, Tuft of Spriggle, Ether of Gems, Essence of Paya. Essence of Paya. Now we have Frostbolt ready to use, and evoke Frostball. Liquid Alloy. turn any alloy back into its base metals? Yes, we can. We take, let's say, red iron ingot, blue crystal shard, and a coal piece. Incantation goes like this. Artifact of earth, fragment of gems, heart of embers, seal, seal. Ta-da! There are dozens of other incantations, but overall this system, in my opinion, really suffers from the fact that you need to be around big green crystal in order to cast spells. And if server owner hasn't placed one in the town, then down the mines you go. But to be fair, I have to say that you can prepare up to 10 spells, many of which have several charges. Quests. There are none. This is from tutorial. Story. There is none. These are soup recipes. Okay, this is a joke, kinda. A Township Tale has a bit of lore about how there was townsfolk, how they were at war with Hebrews people, and now everyone is gone, and you have to bring life back to the abandoned town. And that's it, because essentially A Township Tale is a sandbox game, where players are supposed to be creating their own stories. Here are some of mine.
We're gonna have to pull it out. You can go by the smell. I mean, it smells delicious.
Right?
So go ahead. Alright, so you can go ahead and pull it, I guess. Sure.
Yeah, it's in the back small now.
And then
I make a poison if something goes wrong.
I think if you cook raw meat, it makes poison.
Check if it's poison, please.
Oh, you check if it's poison. This, if it's green, and plant it. in a
Yes!
tree.
I didn't know you could do it! Wow! Wow! Okay, when I don't want to die, I die always.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
No, I cannot get up. How do I get out of here? I have no means to escape. Can I kill myself somehow? Hello?
I'm gonna have to brutally stab you with the arrow, because that's literally all I have.
I have a pickaxe, you can just kill me with it maybe.
Big moment.
Yeah, you're just doing great and killing me. Yeah, maybe 100 hits and that's all.
Yay!
We'll make you a new one. Oh no, I died! You killed me! I'll be waiting for you in the hell!
Okay.
Got exploding arrows.
Yeah, I had those, and they didn't explode when I tried it.
What do you mean? Here, watch.
You're being a kind of rude, I guess, the new guy.
Brothers of the mind rejoice.
What? I wasn't too careful after all. But I didn't die.
Careful.
No! No!
Yeah, no. No.
I don't die yet. Ah, I didn't die yet. Ah, I'm almost dead.
Eat food. Eat food. Eat food.
Yes, I'm not dead now. I'm not dead.
Over here. I don't know.
Oh.
What just happened?
Oh no! No! No, the teleport potion! Fuck.
Overall gameplay. If I were to describe a Township Tale gameplay loop in a brief manner, this is what I would say. Gather resources, craft some gear, gather more rare resources, craft stronger gear, gather more rare resources, craft stronger gear, etc. But at the same time, it is much more, because MMORPG in the VR just screams for socialization, and that's where this game is truly shining in my opinion. I would highly suggest to adventure with
This
friends.
is my house.
This looks like a jail here.
It looks like
Let me in.
It opens up. If you let go, it will open up for you.
Wait.
Yeah, it's automatic doors. You just need to press a button. Oh, look! She's breaking my automatic doors.
It doesn't want to
They
open.
You look. That one opened for you already. Look, see, it's opening.
But look at this one, doesn't want to open.
She broke my doors. Oh.
The dragonflies.
Can we kill it? Eat it?
Ah,
Oh shit, I grabbed it.
yeah, show me. I never grabbed it. Okay. Whoa. Wait. Can you wait? Yeah, show again. We can record it. Yeah, it's so awesome. Wow.
No, I can't eat it.
Just put it in your stomach, you know.
I can't.
That's so awesome.
Wait, can I store? I can't store it.
In your backpack
Can
too? You
just-
cannot?
No, I can't. No,
So
it's
you can just
like
hold
the,
it.
The little guy.
Yeah,
little
just
mushroom man.
you cannot do anything with it.
No,
Yeah.
I'll let it go. I'll let it go like a paper airplane. Huzzah!
I'm streaming in mixed reality, so there's like a real me in this game. Oh, by the way, wait. Here's my card. You may take it. Yeah, I think that
Wait,
works.
I'm gonna go on Twitch.
Fox
What
Zap.
the fuck? What? Jesus Christ! That's so cool! That's so cool!
Yeah.
What? That's actually awesome!
Yeah, thank you very much. Oh my god, do you see it? It's just all smoky. Yes, that's...
Surprise, motherfucker!
Yeah, it's a cutter!
Conclusion. This review turned out pretty big, despite my best efforts to keep it small and simple. And this is considering I left out some big things completely. Climbing tower, combat trials, start of a new server, and didn't talk about million details considering all the aspects of the game. I've been praising almost every aspect of the game, apart from story or economics, but there are enough problems as well. Most of the activities are very time-consuming and somewhat repetitive. Physics quite often acting weird.
Infinity and beyond!
Unbalanced skills, and a long time without major updates are among them. But despite this, I love this game, because it is fully aware what makes VR games fun. If I make friends, I give them my literal card, not using a menu. If I have an inventory, it is a literal backpack with stuff in it, not a menu. If I need to craft a sword, I smelt, forge, and chisel with my hands, not using menu. If I fight with an enemy, my blows have weight and I'm always in danger. If I meet a chicken, it tries to murder me. There is much more I can say about A Township Tale, but I guess I'll save it for the videos to come. If the video was fun or helpful, please press like and subscribe. You can find more videos about A Township Tale on my channel. Anything to add or ask? Welcome to the comments! Thank you for watching! Bye!